What's going on, everybody? You're listening to a new episode of the Post Game Report. I'm JVP. So I was watching some videos on YouTube. Sometimes there's nothing to watch on TV, and my wife and I will just browse YouTube. And of course, with all the algorithms, you can watch something about, buying a home or a piece of land somewhere, and all of a sudden your feed is flooded with all that stuff. So one time, I don't know why, I was watching a video that said, Gen Z attacks Gen X, Generation X. And I was like, you know what, let me watch it. Because I had a conversation, ironically, at Target. My wife and I, we were waiting online, and a gentleman in front of us heard my wife saying there was a song playing over the loudspeaker, and my wife said something in regards like, I can't believe that this song it makes me feel old, something like that. And the guy started talking to us, and he was like, yeah, isn't it amazing now this is considered classic? So we're talking about our generation versus the current generation. So, once again, my wife and I, we were talking with someone in real life, and all of a sudden I see on my YouTube feed a recommendation for that. So just take it as you will. So, we were browsing YouTube. I see the video, and they're talking about, several TikTok videos calling out Generation X. Stupid shit. People do shit for attention. And here's someone in their 20s looking for attention, attacking an age group, which I fall under. I'm 52, so I'm a Gen Xer. And then I started to see more recommended videos, and it was, people identifying as Gen Xers, people who call themselves millennials. They say, well, I was born a year after the cutoff for Gen X, and I identify more as a Gen Xer, blah, blah, blah. And then I started seeing Generation Z saying the same shit, right? So I made a joke on Twitter about, people want to identify as Gen X, and no, screw you, fuck off, you can't. But then what I forgot to mention was that it made sense as far as the gaming community on Twitter, which I have a long history with, mostly being combative, right? Either I'll make just a simple post, and I'll get these random people with like 5 followers, and they'll just go apeshit crazy about something I said in a joking manner. And I've learned in the last few years, I've learned to just let them go about their business, and sometimes I will answer them in a very relaxed tone, but I would also call them out on certain things, because the point of my tweets, my trolling, is to see who will stick to the topic. So I think the last thing, I know I mentioned the Game Pass, and I said, don't let people who get Game Pass for free, who receive Game Pass for free, don't let them tell you how great of a bargain it is. Now, that is self-explanatory, but for those of you that are confused, I'm saying that if I receive, let's say, I receive a free cheeseburger from McDonald's, and I say, oh my God, it's delicious, you should buy it. Why would you trust my opinion on that cheeseburger? I was giving it I was giving it. Let me fucking regain my thoughts, because I'm thinking about cheeseburgers right now. Anyway, I was given the cheeseburger for free by McDonald's to talk about it. So why would you believe anything I have to say about that cheeseburger? I didn't pay for it. I just said it was freaking good because I got it for free. And when things are free, they're a lot better than when you got to actually pay for them. So when I see people saying, influencers I'm talking about, and it doesn't have to just be Game Pass, it doesn't have to be video games. The influence movement, or the influencer epidemic, I call it, because everybody wants to be a fucking influencer. They will lie out of their ass and look into the camera and tell you that something is magnificent. A few days later, they're telling you something else is magnificent. For example, when I watch a review for a mobile phone and I hear the same fucking thing. This is now my daily driver. Number one, who the fuck calls a mobile phone their daily driver in real life? Nobody talks that way. Just say this is the fucking phone I'm using now. I mean, just because a few influential and successful hardware or electronics reviewers have brought that term to the public, now everybody wants to use daily driver. So the same happens in the gaming community. You will see someone reviewing a game and there'll be a little guy, right? There'll be somebody that just began getting contacts in the industry, even though it's not as easy as it used to be. And they'll get a game, mediocre game, for a review. They'll review it, they'll play it, they'll stream it, and they'll just fucking ass kiss the entire time. Why? Because they don't want to lose that contact. And to be fair, when you first get in contact with a developer, with a publisher, or a community manager that puts you on a list so that they can give you content early, when you get that and you're just starting out and that's something you've been working for, it is very exciting. And for the most part, just by trial and error, you're going to want to stay down the line as much as possible, but it's going to lean towards a favorable review or favorable preview. Why? Because you are so damn grateful that you got this contact, that you received gaming content, and in the form of a game, in the form of a rumor or whatever. You're just very thankful, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when there's a history of certain media folks and you see how they turn a different direction with every comment they make, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on a podcast or Twitter, and you see them saying, oh my God, this is the best thing ever in video games, and you question them. You're like, how can you say that? This was given to you. You didn't pay for it. So the value aspect is nullified. You cannot tell me that I got this free mattress and that it cost me nothing. But I'm going to tell you, hey, this mattress is amazing. You should go out and buy it right now, but the mattress costs $1,500. No, I'm not talking about my mattress, by the way. you are telling people to spend money, and then at the same time, you told people that you didn't spend money. And that goes on with influencers as a whole. There are some really good influencers. Once again, this is just not video games. But when you see the influencers in the video game realm, Jesus, they fucking suck. They fucking suck. Because the ones that you will see playing video games on their YouTube channels, streaming, having a conversation with you, those are the people that I support. Not the one that is going to glorify some stupid false rumor and then immediately run and make a clickbaity title with a stupid thumbnail, and then you're going to get all their cronies agreeing with it and then talking about it in spaces for fucking 10 hours. And I just mentioned one side, the Xbox side. They're notorious for that shit. You'll get it on the PlayStation end. But once again, I don't follow those fucking idiots, whether it's Nintendo, PlayStation, or Xbox. There's fewer on the PlayStation end, so it's easier not to see that shit at all. Because I block them, and that's that. My Twitter feed has gotten a little better because I've been blocking stupidity. And quite frankly, the entire freaking whole console battle thing, that shit is over with. It's over. It was fun while it lasted, but now it's boring. You can't even joke around about PlayStation or Xbox because it's over with. Like, wait till the next console generation or wait for the actual games to come out and then, criticize those or say which one is better or whatever, right? Which version of Call of Duty is better between PlayStation and Xbox. But as far as the consoles, the Xbox console is it's not successful in the way that Microsoft would have liked, and it is not successful in the way that their influencers would tell you it's successful. I remember a very influential member of the gaming community who was notoriously a huge Xbox nutlicker. He once told everyone on his Twitter feed that the Xbox Series S was his console of the generation. Now, mind you, this was about a year, maybe a year and a half into the console generation. And then the Series S, which is the weaker out of the X and the S. The Series S is holding back the Series X. It is the reason why some games, well, not some, a lot of games that are third party that come out for multiple consoles, the Series S is the reason why a lot of games run better from third party publishers, run better on the PlayStation 5. And we said this shit when the Series S was announced. I spoke about making Halo Infinite, making that an exclusive for the Series X. And in this case, I'm just going to say Xbox X. The X is, on paper, a very powerful machine, and it's the least sold between the Xbox X, S, and the X. The S is lower spec'd and lower priced, and it has sold more. And because of that, developers who develop games for the Xbox, they have to develop for the lower spec and then risk having performance issues on the more powerful X. It is a joke. And a lot of people said that that was a bad move by Xbox. Whereas PlayStation, they have two versions of the PlayStation 5. One with a disc and one without. But under the hood, you're getting the same exact specs. So developers can develop for one specific spec and call it a day. So when I hear someone who worked their ass off for many, many years, suddenly with one tweet, put their reputation on the ground and took a shit on it for everyone to see. Because when you say something as idiotic as that, especially so early into the generation, you are not properly analyzing the two consoles. And I'm talking about PlayStation and Xbox. Had you said this in year 3 of the generation, I would say, all right, you know what? This individual had plenty of time with both consoles. And maybe they only have one of the two consoles, but in year 3, they made a solid analysis, and they had a lot of time with this console to make that statement. Now, me saying a year and a half, I'm being kind about that. I really am. I think it was like during the first year between the PlayStation 5 launching and the Xbox launching, the Xbox Series. For me, it was the first year, but remember, I have a brain injury, so a lot of shit gets scrambled around. That's why I'm saying a year and a half. 18 months. So when you see people making statements and then they turn around and make a stupid statement like that, you're like, what? And then they're telling you that Game Pass is the future of the video game industry. And you ask them, okay, how? And they freaking never answer you, or they talk shit about you to their followers so that they can come at you, or they block you. So how are you supposed to interact with these influencers who are telling you one thing, and when you question it, they fucking lose their cool? They don't know how to respond. And I know I was talking about Gen X versus Gen Z, or Gen X versus the world, whatever. And for the most part, the people that I see being influencers are from a younger generation where they haven't learned a trade. They haven't, for example, the reason why I say they haven't learned a trade or whatever, they don't have nothing to fall back on. So everything they do depends on creating content and getting engagement and trying to get that monetization money, because they don't know any other skill. So they have the gift of gab. They find an audience that they can manipulate with their words. They find a freaking a sponsor, and all of a sudden they're getting a few bucks, and that's it. They're like, you know what? If I make this stupid ass thumbnail with somebody's face over their mouth and shocked, and if I make some kind of clickbaity title, that's going to generate monetization. And when people click on my video, I'm absolutely have nothing related to that damn title, but they're going to click on my shit. And they're going to see me praising this freaking rice pudding and how delicious this rice pudding is from fucking Kellogg. I'm going to eat a few bites, turn the camera off, throw that shit in the garbage, and move on. But meanwhile, I told everyone that this rice pudding from Kellogg is amazing and they should run out and buy it. Each cup of this rice pudding has about 40 fucking grams of sugar, but hey, and it has high fructose corn syrup, but you know what? Go ahead and buy it because guess what? Kellogg is one of my sponsors, so they paid me to tell you this shit. But I'm an influencer, so you should trust me. And listen, the people that fall for their shit, they're the ones who are really to blame. If you find a hustle and it works, why would you not stick to it? Maybe I'm freaking dumb. Maybe I'm just so hard-headed that I'm my own worst enemy, because when I see that I'm doing something and all of a sudden it becomes kind of trendy, I stop doing it. I'm just that freaking stubborn. I will stop doing it. I did it with photography, where I used to walk around New York City every morning before work, document the city. I would do it after work. I would document everybody in the city doing their thing, take pictures, post it up. And then street photography became this huge fucking monetization opportunity on YouTube, on TikTok, and fucking Instagram. And all of a sudden you had these fucking YouTubers who call themselves photographers, and all they're doing is walking around with a GoPro, so you can have a first-person view of them taking photos, shitty photos, and you hear this fucking, the shutter click for every photo they post on the video. They all start the same way, and I was telling my wife how, and she knows it. She knows now, because I've complained about it so much. She knows that when I'm about what's gonna set me off, because it's so comical. And it's funny that a friend of mine on Twitter who has a YouTube channel and a podcast called Sick Humor TV, he said something in regards to watching something on YouTube and seeing how screwed up it is or whatever, kind of insinuating what I'm saying right now, how, and I've always said it on this podcast about YouTube being a creative platform, or a platform for creators, but everyone seems to be copying each other. So we were watching, my wife and I, we were watching something about the real estate market in Florida. And just because we watched a few, all of a sudden now we get it all the fucking time. And the funny thing is, these people are like my age or maybe a little older, and they're doing the fucking shock face. And all they're talking about is fucking home designing. It's like, what the fuck, man? So, and this is with everything. I'm telling you. Video games, movie reviews, electronics, photography, fucking real estate, right? So and I'm sure you've seen a video like this, right? Somebody will start talking on camera and they'll say, blah, 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 let's get it started. And then a fucking cheesy ass fucking intro starts playing with a little B-roll. And then they come back and they start talking again, and then they start promoting their fucking channel and reminding you to smash the like button because it helps the channel be noticeable in the algorithm and all this bullshit, right? Like everybody's reading the same fucking script. And I'll just blurt out, get to the fucking point. For those of you that watch my videos on YouTube or listen to my podcast, maybe I've done it unknowingly, but I don't ask you to subscribe to my shit. I don't ask people to give me a thumbs up. If you want to do it, you fucking do it. That's my Generation X attitude. If you want to fucking support me, you will. If not, why should I even bother asking you I'll just get straight to the point. I want to talk about this particular thing in photography. I'm going to get straight to the point and then call it a day. You're going to watch the video, and then if you like it, you'll leave a thumbs up. If you don't, or you might even like it, but you'll just click away. And that's that. People watch enough YouTube, they listen to enough podcasts to know how to fucking leave a like, how to hit the subscribe button. I don't need to tell people on YouTube to smash the like button. Every time I hear that shit, I want to fucking step on somebody's face. Well, their face, not just random people. I'm not like that. Anyway, yeah, I'm a little angry today because it's hot. I don't have the AC on and I'm sweating like a pig. But yeah, you know, like when I get into these troll battles on Twitter or, you know, on even my YouTube channel, I'll get people talking shit and I'll answer them back. And the thing people use is, you old man, how dare you be on Twitter talking about video games and blah, blah. And I'm like, you know, that's the stupidest thing you could ever tell somebody, considering that it's my generation that brought what you're doing right now to you, you fucking retard. And yes, I use the R word because I consider myself retarded. But I learned when somebody says that now, it's like, all right, good for you. Because even though I'm not arguing with somebody face to face, I'm still wasting time arguing with somebody on a fucking app. And if I'm doing that, if I'm debating somebody, I don't like to say arguing because I don't ever get to the point where I'm going crazy and I feel like I'm legitimately arguing with people. I call it a debate. The other person, they fucking go crazy. But my generation, we know how to push people's buttons, especially this new weak-minded generation that we see roaming and making the most noise on social media apps and becoming these influencers. The garbage that I see that is popular, and I'm like, how the fuck does that get 2 million views when I've never heard of them? Who the fuck is watching this? And then you'll see someone doing an amazing performance on the guitar or on the piano or something, and they got like fucking 1,000 views. So even though I don't know who the fuck these people are, there's still a large amount of people watching these folks. And if you got 1 million views on a video, you're getting a nice chunk of change in your revenue. And after all is said and done, that's what these people give a shit about. The only weapon we have, and I tell this to people all the time, you don't pay attention to them. You don't watch their shit, no matter if it's just one person not watching their shit. You stay away, you don't have to think about them, and they don't have to waste your time. Because the moment you fall into that rabbit hole, you realize 3 hours later you're still debating with the same idiot on Twitter, and you've let 3 hours go by, and you did absolutely nothing in those 3 hours, but look like a fucking fool. Because you're debating or arguing with somebody that has no meaning in your life. They have no part in your life, like in your real life. There's nothing they can say that is going to change what's actually happening to you. So yeah, when they call me old, I'm like, all right. But guess what? I travel around the world with my wife. My son is a college graduate. I can play video games all day when I want to. Hey, go ask your mommy to buy you a few games and enjoy your console of choice. Why don't you go do that? That's my response most of the time. But I'm going to wrap it up because I know I've been all over the place. I started about Generation X, my generation, and talking about Gen Z attacking Gen X, and then I went into this whole shit about influencers. In some odd way, it all blends together because there's nothing more annoying than seeing someone from my generation who is considered an influencer and they are being bad at it. Because in my generation, we did so much, we know so much, and we can be teaching people, this younger generation, who depend on social media to grow up. And that is dangerous. You got kids who are dependent on their phones, their tablets. You have fucking teenagers that are lost. Their parents have to work because of the fucking craziness with, rent and real estate. If you're in your freaking late teens, you're going through some shit. And a person like myself, I'd rather be a teacher. I'd rather help somebody by sharing my knowledge, not bullshitting my way for some revenue, for a little bit of popularity within an industry. All you're doing is selling your integrity and poisoning a generation of people that are looking for somebody to tell them the right shit. Unfortunately, there's a lot of selfish people out there, and the worst are the people that are in my generation. We should know better. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope everybody's doing well. I appreciate you guys listening to another episode of the Post Game Report. I'll talk to you later.